Hi, so I've created a project where I'm mimicking the Kubernetes Ingress service. So Ingress service is generally where it exposes an external load balancer, and we configure few paths wherever we want our main domain to take our application to, like take our users to. So how did I configure it? So firstly, I created an backend deployment. Uh, so backend uses this image where it has a simple node application which connects to database, and we can put users in there and we can fetch them, right? And for database URL, earlier I was using .env file, but this time I used secret, which is base 64 encoded. And this is the backend service which is internally running with ClusterIP service. So basically the backend ports are internally exposed and not externally. And then this is the front end service, and I'm for front end I'm just testing it with HTTP so that I can route to my front end path and back end path. So it's just in test step front end, not an actual thing. So and here also front end is also exposed by ClusterIP service, and this service is getting selecting ports via this label. So the frontend service basically creates one pod which have this label. So this service will be able to identify that using this label, right? Anyway, this is my database deployment on a pod itself. So this also expose internally via cluster IP service. So internally all the applications are secured and nobody can reach it via internet or anyway. So this is the main thing, right? Right. So I created another pod which will be running my uh, nginx service, basically nginx uh, image. And using that nginx image, what I am doing is using config map, I am updating its configuration file, and the configuration file is such that it's going to go to my this domain, and when I type this domain slash backend, it's gonna be redirecting me to this path. And this is basically this is basically my backend ports where my backend service is running. So this way I can visit the backend and frontend ports, right? So when I type slash backend, so it goes to backend ports, and when I type slash frontend, then it goes to this frontend ports. And I've created a deployment for this, which is running my nginx pods, and this particular deployment is exposed by the load balancer service, which essentially Ingress service do, right? And this is hitting the port 80 of load balancer. So yeah, it's gonna be like redirecting to nginx, and then nginx is gonna take care of the like backend and front end URLs. So this way I tried to mimic the uh, Ingress service, which uh, implicitly exposes a load balancer, and we can easily configure path there. I have an repo created for it also. So let me just quickly walk you through how I configured the cluster and all of the stuff. So yeah, give me a second. Yeah. So I created an load balancer cluster. Yeah, I created a load balancer cluster. Uh, yeah, on Civo Cloud. It already has port 80, port 443 exposed, and then I uploaded this backend image which have my DB backend to my Docker hub, and it has like two versions. the second version has the backend landing page also. Uh, so it just simply tells me like, welcome to backend and stuff. Yeah. So anyway, leave it. This is where I configured. Okay, it's loading again. Let me just quickly show you that. Meanwhile, it's getting logged in. Let's go to the command. So as I showed you, I can configure my online cluster with my local kubectl using this. I downloaded this configuration file and moved it to my kube config, and then I am able to get the nodes and the pods which is running here, right? Now I applied these all manifest and all the services, deployments, secrets, and config map were created. So here I am like fetching the pods. I removed the namespaces for the simplicity, so that the commands would be like easily show all of the deployment at the pods and the services which are running. So there I'm getting the deployment. This is backend deployment, which is running two pods. This is database deployment, which is running only one node, and same goes for front end. And this is uh, nginx deployment, which is eventually mimicking Ingress. So that's why I named like that. And these are my services. So backend cluster IP service, DB cluster IP service, which do not have any kind of external IP. But I created one load balancer service also, which is this one. And this exposes an external IP, right? Now, this external IP is what I configured on my DNS settings. So if you see here in the DNS settings, I added this record, a record. Now, if I send these requests to via Postman, so say let's firstly go to the front end. Okay, so if I go like this and preview this, so front end, like this URL is correctly mapped to my front end path, which is which is by nginx service, which I showed you. Now let's go to the backend thing. Backend, yeah. So see, it's working, and it's saying visit backend slash users to check what users are there. So I just put one user here. If you see, yeah, I can get it. So let's say I'm sending another post request to this same URL. I'm putting my name as a user. If I send the request, the second user is added. Let's say I'm adding another user, uh, Tanjiro Kamaro. Okay. Now third user is added. Now let's hit the request again to get the users. Now I have three users which I just freshly added, right? So yeah, it's working fine. That's what I wanted to check and configure. I'll push this code to GitHub. Yep. Thanks.